We're back with another 2021 rookie profile. Is Nico Collins a heat seeker? Watch and find out. Is Nico Collins one of your top 5 rookie fantasy receivers? Let us know in the comments below. The 6'4", 218-pound Collins came from Pinson, Alabama, from Clay-Chalkville High School. He was the 23rd overall in 247's composite rankings at the wide receiver position and 138 nationally in the 2017 class. Collins had ultimately, you can't blame Collins for Michigan and their inability to find, develop quarterbacks and give their receivers anything to work with. You know, Collins was part of a very talented wide receiver core, include Cleveland Browns' Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tarik Black, Ronnie Bell. There's plenty of receivers that have been there during the time that Collins was there. And unfortunately for Collins, it just it hasn't, statistically speaking, looked good on paper for him. In his career, he had 78 receptions, 1,388 yards, and 13 touchdowns, 17.8 yards per catch. The last 2 seasons, 2018 and 2019, that he played in, he was more of a bigger play guy. 16.6 yards per catch, 19.7 yards per catch in those 2 seasons. Michigan's offense as a whole, and anybody who watches college football will tell you that Michigan is kind of a mess all over the place. Me being a Michigan guy, I obviously am biased. I think they're a hot mess and it drives me crazy. But when you look at, I don't hold that against any of the guys that have come out, the DPJs of the world, the Nico Collins of the world. You have to evaluate the individual, the play on the field, the things that they did to prepare themselves and to do what they could. If you want to see what Collins can do, 2019 is a good year to watch his film, and you can see both ends of the spectrum. He had a really solid campaign against Indiana in 2019, and then, they ran into the buzzsaw that is Ohio State. So those are 2 definite areas that you can look at, or 2 different game films that you can look at. And RookieDraftGuide.com has plenty of film and plenty of information for you to digest into your eyes and your ears so that you can prepare yourself for your rookie drafts. But Collins is not a guy that you need to brush to the side just because Michigan's been a dumpster fire. He is, a developmental starting type receiver. Like, he has the size, speed combination that you want to see. And he did well in college with what he was given. The amazing thing, as I compiled all the information, the stats, the data, the evaluators' information, kind of perusing the internet to see what general scouts of the world view as Collins when it comes to his draft stock and some of those things. Collins is probably one of those guys that's going to go under the radar in a day 3 type pick because Michigan didn't do him any favors, and I don't hold that against him. When I looked at the evaluators' information, and as I was reading through kind of their notes and their thoughts on him, I was really pleasantly surprised. The thing that you guys come to this channel for, and we appreciate and love every one of you guys that takes your time out of your day to watch what we're doing here at RotoHeat and RookieDraftGuide.com, is that people are interested in what he can do at the next level. They're excited about, his big play ability, the type of player he could develop into. Now, the thing you're going to have, I've said in a few videos, the Tylan Wallace and some of those, if you haven't watched them, make sure you do. Collins is going to need time. The way that Michigan used him, they didn't do him a lot of favors. He's got a really strong athletic profile, and those things that you can't teach, he can do well. He can make big plays. He can be that big play receiver. And at 6'4", that's really intriguing. He tends to do, when it comes to the route tree, I don't want to say it's simple. Like, he did, digs and posts and, and some shallow stuff. It isn't super developed, but it isn't super underdeveloped either. He's kind of that middle of the road. Like, he needs some seasoning and needs some time to develop and and learn some of the things, that the nuances that you need to learn at the next level. And I hope that he gets with a coaching staff that really can develop him. I would love him to get with the Sean Jeffersons of the world, who coached up some of the great receivers that are currently in the league and really helped out in a lot of ways. He's got such a short area burst that if you're not pressing him at the line, he really can make you pay for it. There's a lot of things about his game that are really, really intriguing. He can go up and get the ball out of the air and attack it, at the high point, and some of those things that you want to see out of your potential ex receiver. He shows you that he can do it. He just needs some time and some growth and some coaching. He's got field awareness, and he does well with the ball in his hands. That route tree just needs some development. So if you're a guy who's drafting Collins, I'm not banging the table that he's immediately a second round rookie pick type player, but I'm saying that he's definitely a guy like some of the other ones that I mentioned here as of recently on the channel. These are perfect taxi squad stash type players to see what happens. I mean, DPJ last year coming out was the guy that I targeted and put on my taxi squad if their potential was there at the right round, at the right price, because he can develop into something so much more. And we saw it even in the most recent playoff game against Kansas City. They're starting to trust him a little bit more. They're starting to do some things with him a little bit more. And as the year went on, they sprinkled him in, and he did some things. He showed the reason that you drafted him and the reason that you take a chance on him. So if you're a fantasy owner, is Nico Collins the guy that you should get? Well, our team says yes. We've evaluated a lot of receivers in this class, and some of the ones that we evaluated earlier on, some of the bigger name ones, when the evaluators put their numbers, their pen to paper and their numbers to the papers, he went pretty high. Now, obviously, a shameless plug like I do throughout the video, rookiedraftguide.com is where you want to go to see the specific film and numbers and everything that we put together. But I will tell you that I was pleasantly surprised when I went through the evaluators' take on Collins. My personal opinion is when you got the size, athletic profile that a guy like Collins has, is going to get an opportunity at the NFL. He seems to be a hard enough worker and a high character individual that he could develop, and he will work hard to become the next big thing if given the opportunity. But he's gonna have to work hard, and he's gonna need some time. So don't jump on him immediately thinking that he's going to just explode. The thing that you see me do in some of these videos that I don't like to cringe, but I like to give you kind of an idea of the type of player that they could become. He reminds some as a Vincent Jackson type player. Vincent Jackson, for some of you that don't know, was drafted by the Chargers and was in Tampa Bay for a while. Was a big guy, big play threat. Had some nice seasons and some good fantasy production. So as a fantasy owner, I think Collins is a guy you want to keep on your radar. Make sure you look into it. Make sure you talk to us here in the community. Ask questions in the chats and the forums and Discord on Facebook. Let's keep this conversation going. Again, let me know in the comments below, is he one of your top 5 rookie fantasy receivers in this draft class? And we will talk to you again soon.